Welcome to Mexico, everybody. Since we left you last, we headed towards Joshua Tree, where we met up with Ward and Annie. Back in the day, when we were just starting the initial stages of putting the truck together, Ward and Annie just received delivery of their big Overlander, and we went over and visited with them, and they gave us a tour of the rig and everything. But we really hadn't seen them in 2 years since then, and so it was neat to meet up with them, and the two brothers from another mother's could hang out for a bit.
And through Ward and Annie, we met Nate and Ellie, and we got to go and do a really cool hike with them up in Joshua Tree and get to see all these really neat rock formations. And yeah, be sure to check out their Instagram, A Van Without a Plan.
Yeah, that was a super neat hike. There's lots of giant boulders that were just bigger than you could imagine, and all rounded. I'd never seen anything like that anywhere else. And at the end of that hike was a bunch of palm trees in a bit of a valley. So that was super neat.
And we got to check out the rest of Joshua Tree, which, I mean, the trees just blow your mind. We did get to find a little off-road away from the beaten path and see just some neat scenery out there.
From there we headed south and checked out the Salton Sea and Salton City and Salton Beach.
Yeah.
And that was super neat because all the beach there is made up mostly what seems of tiny little shells, and so they blow up into these giant heaps of really soft crustacean shells, and as you walk through them it's all crunching and Rice Krispies.
And it's quite neat to see how the buildings are abandoned and quite a bit of graffiti around the place, and it just kind of seems to be left to the wild now.
Yeah, it's a sad story, but neat. It was kind of an accident where that lake flooded by accident when an irrigation project went south, and so they tried to make a tourist attraction out of the whole deal, and that didn't really work out because the lake keeps getting more and more saline. And as the water evaporates, it's not replenished with fresh water. So
yeah, we would see dead fish around,
but
it's worth seeing.
Yeah, it's super neat. And if you're interested in that at all, there's a really excellent video by Veritasium that I will link below. You can check that out.
After that, we headed to Anza Borrego, and we got to see some really cool formations there. There's the Fonts Point Lookout, which is definitely worth checking out if you're in that area. And then we did get to do a little bit of off-road. We did the Rock House Truck Trail, and that's just a neat little trail through the mountains.
You have
really
to go
cool.
At a walking pace. It's super bumpy, but we took this long winding road around a mountain, and then it's a dead end in a crescent-shaped mountain range surrounding you, and so we just stopped there for the night. From there we got our stuff all in order to cross into Mexico. We needed to get the dog checked out at a veterinarian, make sure he's all on the up and up, and do some customs paperwork. We did our FMM visas in advance, and then it was time to cross the border.
Yeah, and that was definitely the way to go, to do your FMMs online. We could fill them all out and also pay for them. So when we got to the border, it was very simple. All we needed was that stamp.
Yep, so we drove up. The attendant wanted just to see inside, looked inside, realized it was an RV. And even though we speak little to no Spanish, it was a breeze. They waved us through and we were into Mexico.
Yeah, no problem.
So from there, we crossed at Tecate, and we drove through the town nice and slow, stopping at all the stop signs. And I always knew people complained that the stop signs are hidden and you can't see them, and the crooked police are just trying to get you. But they are there, and I wouldn't say they're hidden, but my mind especially, just doesn't see them. I realize now that I don't recognize the symbol so much as the word. So we stopped for all of them. We got them all. And from there we headed south to Ensenada, where we stopped at the Costco, stocked up on all the good things, including avocados, and a Telcel dealer where we got SIM cards for both of our phones and the truck.
Yes, and pretty sweet deal. It was $30 Canadian.
Yeah, about 30 Canadian for unlimited talk and text in North America, so we can talk with our folks back home, and what was it? I think 10 gigs of data. So
10 gigs, yeah.
Quite the deal.
Yeah.
Not too bad, not too expensive, as long as you have an unlocked phone. And so from there we headed east to San Felipe, where we are now. You can see the tide is out, but we've been staying at this beautiful beach with our own palapas and wonderful sand, and we can let the dog run free, and it's a pretty cool place. And we did have to cross 2 military checkpoints on our way, but they were a breeze. They spoke no English and we spoke no Spanish, but we got it figured out. Less than 2 minutes per stop, and that was easy peasy. And so yeah, now we're here for a few days.
And that's essentially our update.
Except, except for the most amazing part. We met Joe and Sonja, who have spent the last year, little over a year, traveling in their Toyota Hilux from Halifax across Canada, up into Alaska, down through the States and into Mexico. And they're just heading back to Texas now to ship their truck back to Germany. And it was super informative talking with them. We spent the whole night with them talking till 11 o'clock, I think, or 11:30 they left. And just a wealth of information and a wealth of information, and a super cool guy. He's a year younger than me, but he's seen the world and knows how the world ticks.
Yeah, it was really encouraging to talk to somebody else that's done this trip and they had no issues at all.
So that's it for now. Hopefully we can slow down a little more here in the coming weeks and record some videos. There's been a ton of requests for specific content, like how our water system works, updates on the interior, and our one video from a year ago blew up. We got some 50,000 views in a matter of a few weeks, or a few days rather. So 2,000 new subscribers, thank you very much.
Yeah.
And hope you guys will follow along with the journey. We're on our way south in Baja right now, and we'll be heading back north for Overland Expo in May. But for now, we're in Mexico, so we hope you guys will follow along with the journey. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.
To really unwind and slow down, even if it's a spot where you say, we'll just stop for a night, just spend 2 days or 3 days instead of just one night, and that slows you down rapidly. I didn't follow that advice until like month 7. But it's true, once I did, it went like, ooh.
Yeah.
And then you stay and you meet people, because you're not just like pull in at night, sleep, breakfast, hit the road again. Then a cool rig like yours drives in, you start to talk, and it was like, it's so much to talk about, or fun stories. Let's just stay another night. And then you've not driven, right? You stayed, and that gets you unwinded and slowed down.
Yeah.
Piece of advice.
Thank you.
That's profound.
You.